Anna never imagined that one night could change everything. She was standing in the kitchen, gently stirring a pot of butternut squash soup meant for a dinner her husband, Daniel, would never come home to eat. At 8 months pregnant, Anna thought she had prepared for everything. The nursery was finished, the stroller was assembled, and she'd even made a playlist of lullabies. But the one thing she hadn't prepared for was the absence of the man she trusted most. When the first contraction hit, it was like a hammer slamming into her spine. The wooden spoon clattered to the floor as her body stiffened, her hand gripping the counter, eyes wide with fear. "No, it's too early," she whispered. "Only 32 weeks." The house was quiet. No one answered. Daniel wasn't there. He had told her he was away on a weekend strategy retreat with his firm, but deep down, Anna knew something was off. She had felt it for months. The late-night meetings, the silent texts, the way his eyes never quite stayed with hers anymore. She just never imagined that when their daughter chose to come into the world, she'd have to do it alone. The next contraction came faster, harder, sending Anna crumpling to the cold tile floor. Her breath came in short, panicked bursts as her trembling hand reached for her phone. She dialed Daniel, straight to voicemail. "Daniel, I think I'm in labor. Please, come home. I need you." She tried again, still the same cheerful automated voice, as if mocking her desperation. As the pain spread like fire through her abdomen, Anna called her sister, Claire. Claire answered on the first ring. "Anna? I think she's coming too soon. I can't reach Daniel." "Where is he?" "I don't know. Call 911 now. I'm on my way." Anna crawled to the landline, dialing emergency services as contractions tore through her every minute. The dispatcher's questions came one after another. "How far along? Any bleeding? Is anyone with you?" "No, just me. I'm alone." By the time the ambulance arrived, Anna could barely stand. The EMTs tried to reassure her as they strapped her onto the gurney, but all she could feel was the weight of drowning. She apologized for the messy kitchen, for not being able to walk, for her absent husband. "Don't apologize, Miss Anna," the young EMT smiled gently. "You're doing great. We'll take good care of you and your baby." But Anna didn't feel like she was doing great. She felt like her body was betraying everything she had tried to protect. As the ambulance turned toward the hospital, she silently begged Daniel to show up, just once, to hold her hand. Claire was already there in the emergency room, her hair disheveled, her face pale with worry. She grabbed Anna's hand and whispered, "It's okay. I've got you. I won't let you go through this alone." But when the doctor announced that the baby was in distress and Anna was hemorrhaging internally and that they had to perform an emergency C-section, Daniel was still nowhere. And Anna knew he had chosen to be somewhere else during the most defining moment of their lives. Lily was born at 11:47 p.m. that night. Weighing just over 4 pounds, she breathed on her own, her cries loud and indignant as if protesting her premature eviction. Claire held Anna as the doctors wheeled Lily to the NICU, tears streaming down her face. "She's beautiful, Anna. She looks just like you." But Anna barely heard her. The lights blurred, sounds echoed. Something was still wrong, very wrong. She hemorrhaged for 3 hours. Flatlined twice, and Danielle slept peacefully in Julia's arms, unaware his wife was fighting for her life. The next morning, just as Anna had stabilized, Daniel stumbled into the hospital room like a man walking off a weekend bender. His shirt was wrinkled, eyes bloodshot, and Julia's floral perfume still clung to his clothes. "Anna, I'm so sorry, my phone died. I didn't get your messages." But when Anna saw the delicate silver bracelet on his wrist, the one she had complimented Julia on at the office Christmas party, everything shattered. "That bracelet, where did you get it?" Daniel stammered. I found it in the car. It's Julia's." Claire, standing beside the bed, couldn't hold back any longer. "Where were you when my sister almost died? When your daughter came into the world without you?" Anna didn't need more words. Claire pulled up Julia's Facebook. They scrolled. The photos were damning. Daniel and Julia at the resort's restaurant, kissing on a balcony. And then, the final one, Julia wearing nothing but Daniel's dress shirt, lounging on a hotel bed. Posted at 11:52 p.m., 5 minutes after Lily's birth. "Get out," Anna whispered. "Anna, please. Get out of this room. Get out of my life." Daniel stood frozen for a moment, then turned and walked away. And Anna knew the man she once loved no longer existed. The divorce happened faster than Anna had expected. There was simply too much undeniable evidence: hotel receipts, romantic texts, photos from Julia's Facebook. Anna's lawyer, Sarah Lynn, sharp and unrelenting, called it a calculated betrayal. The judge looked at Daniel with open disappointment. "You didn't just betray your wife," he said. "You abandoned her during a life-threatening emergency." Anna was granted full custody of Lily. Daniel was restricted to supervised visitations. She kept the house, most assets, and received monthly support to care for their daughter. Daniel barely argued. He sat silently in the courtroom, pale and hollow-eyed, drained by sleepless nights and too much alcohol. Not long after, he was fired from his marketing firm, the job he once took so much pride in. The scandal surrounding his affair and divorce made him a public liability. Julia vanished from his life as swiftly as she had entered it. Daniel moved from his apartment to a budget motel, and from there into the backseat of his aging BMW, where he slept at night, a bottle of whiskey hidden beneath the driver's seat, watching the world blur through dust-streaked windows. He had once had it all: a loving family, a warm home, a loyal wife, and a child who should have been the most beautiful chapter of his life. And he threw it all away for the wrong embrace. In the beginning, Daniel was nothing more than a stranger in Lily's life. The supervised visits took place in a small playroom at a community center, under the watchful eyes of a social worker named Mrs. Patterson. Lily, just learning to walk, cried when Daniel came near. She didn't recognize him, didn't trust him, and had no reason to. But Daniel tried. He brought stuffed animals, picture books, lullabies Anna used to sing when Lily was still in the womb. He learned to step back, to wait patiently for his daughter to let him in. Then one day, as Lily was stacking colorful blocks, she turned, looked at him with her wide brown eyes, and said clearly, "Daddy?" The entire room fell silent. Daniel choked. Tears welled up. He nodded, reaching out his trembling hands as if to touch something sacred. Mrs. Patterson smiled gently, jotting down in her notebook, "Good progress." For the first time in a long while, Daniel didn't feel like a complete failure. A month later, he was allowed to attend Lily's second birthday in the backyard of the house that used to be his. Anna kept her distance. Claire didn't even look at him, but Lily ran toward him, wrapped her little arms around his leg, and shouted, "Daddy!" And in that child's laughter, Daniel heard something he hadn't felt in years: hope. In the fall of Lily's third year, Anna's mother was diagnosed with terminal pancreatic cancer. The doctor said about 6 months. 6 months to say goodbye to the woman who taught Anna how to bake apple pie, lull a baby to sleep, and stand tall when the world turned its back. Anna was exhausted, balancing motherhood, a full-time job, hospital visits, and pretending everything was fine. Claire helped when she could, but she had just had her first child. Everything seemed to fall on Anna's shoulders. And then Daniel showed up. No promises, no apologies, just quiet actions. He picked Lily up from daycare when Anna was stuck at the hospital. He cooked dinner and left it on the doorstep. He slipped an envelope under her door labeled "for gas bills." Anna was surprised, then cautious, but eventually she was too tired to resist the help. When Margaret became too weak to speak, Daniel asked if he could visit. Sitting by her bedside, he held her hand and said through tears, "I hurt your daughter, but if you'll let me, I want to be here, not to fix the past, but to care for the present." Margaret squeezed his hand, frail but deliberate, and nodded. That one nod was enough for Daniel to know life was giving him one more chance. A few weeks later, she passed in her sleep. The funeral was held on a rainy afternoon. The church pews were full of family and friends. As preparations were made, the pastor approached Anna. "Your mother left a request," he said. "She wanted Daniel to deliver the eulogy." Anna went still, then nodded. Daniel stood at the pulpit, his voice wavering at first, but when he looked at Margaret's photo, her gentle smile framed in oak, he steadied. I was once someone unworthy of trust, and many of you still see me that way. I don't blame you, but I'm not standing here to ask for forgiveness. I'm here to honor a woman who showed me what unconditional love looks like. Margaret was the first to hand me a plate of warm apple pie when I came to dinner at Anna's. She didn't ask what I earned, what I drove, or where I came from. She only asked, "Do you treat my daughter with kindness?" I wish I had answered truthfully. I hurt this family. But in her final days, she didn't turn her back on me. She held my hand and taught me that forgiveness is a strength, not a weakness. I will carry that lesson for the rest of my life, and I will tell Lily that her grandmother was a warrior, a wonderful mother, and the first woman who gave me a second chance when I deserved none. As Daniel stepped down, the chapel was silent. Anna sat in the front row, tears falling, not from pain this time, but because for the first time in years, she saw something in Daniel that felt real. Just 3 weeks after the funeral, life threw Anna into another nightmare. It was raining hard that day. Anna was on a Zoom call when the daycare called. "Lily had an accident. We've called an ambulance." She dropped her laptop and ran out the door, but when she arrived at the hospital, Daniel was already there. He was holding Lily, her head wrapped in gauze, lips pale but awake, and whispering something that made the little girl nod. Anna rushed over, tears spilling as Lily softly said, "Mommy." The doctor reassured her. Lily had only a mild concussion and some scrapes, but Anna collapsed into a chair, shaking. Daniel sat beside her, silently handing her a cup of water. They stayed side by side for 3 days and nights, taking turns watching over Lily's hospital bed. For the first time since the divorce, they weren't strangers. They were parents, bound together in silence and care. On the second night, as Lily slept, Anna whispered, "I used to think I was strong, but really, I just survived by not letting myself feel." Daniel replied softly, "And I survived by running from every feeling. We both lost when we chose to do it alone." And suddenly, the silence wasn't so heavy anymore. The next morning, as Anna stepped into the hallway for coffee, she saw Ethan, the steady, respectable doctor who had proposed to her just a month earlier, standing there. He looked into the room, saw Daniel tucking Lily in, and Anna's hand resting gently on his shoulder. Ethan said nothing. He just nodded, offered a sad smile, and walked away. When Anna returned to the room, she knew one chapter had closed and another was quietly beginning. 2 weeks after Lily was discharged, Anna found an envelope in her mailbox. No stamp, no sender, just a single handwritten line, "For you, if you're ready." It was from Daniel. The letter spanned 10 pages. No poetic flourishes, no excuses, just raw, honest truth. From the moment he began drifting from Anna to the night he chose someone else while she fought for her life. He wrote about shame, regret, the nights he spent in his car wondering how he had become that man. And at the end, he wrote, "I don't expect forgiveness. I just want you to know I see the pain I caused, and I carry it with me every day. I'm willing to spend the rest of my life proving that I've changed, not to erase the past, but to honor the love I once broke. And if one day you can look at me not just as a scar, but as someone trying to heal the wound he made, that would be the greatest gift I could ever receive." Anna read the letter over and over for 3 days. Every word unearthed memories, painful, but somehow liberating. That Sunday evening, just as the sun dipped behind the trees, she texted Daniel, "Meet me at the park, 5 p.m. He came, no expectations, no polished outfit, just sincere eyes and nervous hands clasped tightly together. Anna didn't say much. She just looked at him for a long while, then whispered, "There was a time I hated you so much I couldn't hear your name. But today, I see a father, a man learning how to grow from his own mistakes." Daniel's voice caught. "I love you, Anna, not because of who we were, but because of who you are now, strong, dignified and still kind. Anna nodded. Her tears fell, no longer bitter. She stepped forward, gently placed a hand on his cheek. I forgive you, not because you deserve it, but because I deserve peace. And they held each other not in anger, but in a real beginning. It was a crisp spring morning, the sky polished blue, cherry blossoms drifting gently over the stone paths of Maplewood Park, the place Anna once walked with her mother, dreaming of quiet futures. Today, she returned, not as the girl who carried fragile hope, but as a woman, a mother, and someone who had been broken, and was now walking forward beside the two people who mattered most. Lily giggled as Daniel lifted her onto his shoulders, arms stretched out like tiny wings. Take flight, Captain Lily, he called, and Anna followed a few steps behind, shaking her head with a quiet smile. She still wasn't entirely used to Daniel's consistent presence, but she no longer resisted it. Since the park meeting, nothing changed overnight. There were no magical transformations. Healing didn't arrive like lightning. They still argued about parenting, about the past, about trust. There were moments they fell silent, brushing too close to wounds that hadn't fully closed. But this time, neither of them walked away. Daniel started showing up at parent-teacher conferences. They split school drop-offs. Friday dinners became a quiet ritual. Not a picture-perfect family, but something real, something earned. Anna realized love wasn't the miracle that made life easy. It was the reason to stay, even when life was still complicated. On the old park bench where she once sat alone crying into her coat, Anna now sat beside Daniel, hand in hand. No ring, no proposal, just a quiet vow. I'm staying. She leaned her head on his shoulder. Lily was on the swings now, her hair catching the light like gold in the wind, and Anna smiled, not because everything was perfect, but because, for the first time in years, it felt possible. Because true love doesn't always begin with fireworks. Sometimes it begins quietly, with two people standing side by side, choosing to write a different ending to the same old story.